What's going on, Flames Nation? Welcome back. I feel like we have not had the opportunity to get together and chat Liberty football in about a week and a half, but we are here live, the Sea of Red football podcast. I am joined by, is that head coach Jamie Chadwell? Oh, no, that's John Manson. And as if you could see you are watching live, thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. But you can see that it is Halloween. And we are going to embrace it. We are going to embrace spooky season. John is dressed as head coach Jamie Chadwell. I am loosely dressed as the number 24 car, William Byron, who is racing in the championship this upcoming Sunday. But we have a little bit of a different show for you this evening. We're mixing it up a little bit. We want to bring in some new faces. We want to bring in some new ideas and hear some new voices. And we are going to be joined this evening by the gentlemen of the Fan the Flames football podcast. They are a great group, and they know their Liberty football. They know their Liberty athletics inside and out. So, Producer 3000, bring them in. Let's get this party started, because it is Halloween. And some people, Halloween night might not be for you. Not really for me, but we're going to enjoy spooky season, and we're going to get it in. So, Chad, bring him in, and let's dive into Western Kentucky.
Richie, are we allowed to say Happy Halloween?
Welcome in Ben, Jerry, and James from the Fan the Flames football podcast. Gentlemen, welcome this Tuesday night. How are we doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So if you are just listening in the future, Jerry has a Joker mask, and James is dressed up as the robe guy. Ben locked in with the classic Liberty football shirt, but I respect it. Again, Halloween, not for everyone, and we're going to jump right in. The last time we saw our Liberty Flames on the field was last Tuesday night, and we got an opportunity to face off on the field with Western Kentucky, the team that kind of has been the white whale this season, the game that everyone has circled. So jump in. I'm going to start with you, Jerry. What were your thoughts on the game? What were some of your takeaways? And what are some things that might have surprised you? You could take the mask off.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
So while Jerry gets that squared away, again, thank you for joining us this evening. If you are watching live, throw some comments out there. Producer 3000 is taking care of all that. While Jerry gets that squared away, again, same question to you, James. What were your thoughts on the game? What surprised you? What were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, I think our offense came out and did exactly what I figured they were going to do. Ran the ball for like over 400 yards again, spread the wealth. I think the surprise, though, personally for me, was just our fourth quarter defense, just a couple of random deep balls, but overall loved it. And super proud of the boys for how they played.
No, totally agree. We'll definitely touch on those deep balls in the end, but we got off to a slow start. Western Kentucky marched on the field, scored on that first play of the game. But after that, Liberty really dominated it. So we have some of the stats on the screen. Jerry, glad that you joined us again.
Sorry.
What were some of the numbers that popped out to you that you think made a difference in this game?
Well, we obviously got a little bit of the time of possession there, being able to control the ball a little bit more, obviously, than Austin Reed and Malachi Corley was a big issue there, a big part of our game plan. And then obviously the turnover, that pick that we got, getting out the old Joker mask. That was part of my pregame keys of success in our podcast prior to the game, and we were able to get it out, and it was a big part of the game.
I feel like you feel that momentum coming. You're like, we're due for a Joker play. We are due to get that play out there. Ben, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was more of a, I guess you say, blowout than what I expected. A larger margin than what I expected. They, like we said, we had those. We gave up those broken coverages that allowed those two big passes that were wide open. But outside of that, really proud of the guys. we stuck to our game plan, and we're doing what we've been doing well all year, and that's running the ball. So we're top 5 in the nation for a reason. So
it's crazy to think about when you look back a couple of years ago with the struggles I've mentioned before that the offensive line has had. Now, there was a great turnout from Liberty fans. There was a couple people here that were at the game. And, John, you were able to make a bit of a weekend out of it. Talk about the trip. Talk about the lead up to the game. Talk about the game and what your experiences were at Western Kentucky.
Yeah, it was a weekend trip during the middle of the week, right? But yeah, me and Chad kind of caravanned, if you want to call it that, down to Bowling Green. We had a good time. Got there Monday night and got an Airbnb and stayed there. Kind of hung out all day Tuesday in Bowling Green, in the town of Bowling Green. Met up with Jerry and some other Flame fans while we were there. Had a good old time, and it was really cool to kind of just talk to Western fans they're around town, and they were all so pessimistic about their team, which was kind of interesting to me, but it was a lot of fun. It's always fun to go on some of these road trips. You hear coaches and players talk about that a lot, about how much fun it is to go on the road, and getting to experience that some in a different capacity, but with Liberty fans and people that follow the team so close is a lot of fun. A lot of parents of players also go to most of the trips too, so you get to see them. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a big win, though. I mean, that we all looked at this game back before the season started as the key game, really to determine who would be in that Conference USA championship game, and that win kind of put Liberty, not just, it helped them clinch, right? It helped them clinch a conference championship spot, but they're really, the magic number, if we're talking baseball, is 1 to get in the conference championship game as a host. And so that's where they're at right now. And one more win or a loss by New Mexico State, and the Flames will be playing at home on December 1st. And James, how key do you think it is for the Flames to not just get in the conference championship game, but to be able to do it in such convincing fashion to this point in the season?
Yeah, I talking with Ben and a few of y'all, like, coming into the season, just realizing, like, hey, we've had a lot of turnover. Ben mentions it all the time. It's just like over 50% of our roster is completely different from last year, whether it's transfer portal, graduations, or freshmen coming in. Just like, I think for us to do it the way we have, first year in the conference, like a very new roster, has been awesome. And it's definitely a huge year for our program, especially if we can win out. It's just going to propel us into more conversations of getting better recruits, more conversations of getting better games. So I think it's been a really big thing this year.
Awesome. Thanks, James. And I think now it's time for our weekly segment with our main guy, Brendan Schlittler, live with 5-5. So he'll be up right after this. Producer 3000 hit.
Good evening, gents.
How's it going, Brendan?
It's going well.
My question for you, man, is how's it felt, despite, being on the sidelines this year, to be able to clinch that spot in the CUSA championship game?
Yeah, obviously a different perspective than you anticipated going into the year, but it's been full of joy. Obviously, I haven't been on the field during the games, but to be with the guys doing the workouts, the practice, and the meetings, you kind of see still what goes into it. You can pour into them, help them see things in themselves that they don't see, and kind of help bring their potential out of them. So it's been joyful in a new way. But I couldn't be more proud of how they've handled the situation. And I mean, anytime you start 8-0, that's special. You got something special riding on the season at this point. So.
Yeah, and Brendan, the team, you mentioned starting 8-0, and that's not new for the Flames and for you since you've been here on the mountain. I mean, the team has gotten off to great starts pretty much every year. I mean, 8-1 last year, 7-2, and what was it, 2021? I think 8-0 in 2020. So, I mean, this is a 4th straight year. You guys have really gotten out to a really fast start. Unfortunately, as we all know, that there have been some slow finishes to the season, most notably last year, losing those 4 straight, and lots of extenuating circumstances kind of leading to that. But what's the team's, talk this week, a little bit about, trying to finish strong and how to have a strong finish in November?
Yeah, so the captains meet every single week with Coach Chadwell, and it's been something we've talked about since he got here. That I think we're 2-6 the last 2 Novembers. That's a red flag, specifically when you start as good as you start. So something's wrong with how you handle it mentally, or obviously there's other factors. But that's always been what we've been focusing on. What do we have to do different in November? So obviously you have your cliche answer, and it's true. You got to focus on going 1-0, but there's bigger external factors you got to control. So the biggest things we talked about: missing assignments, being late to meetings, being late to meals, just small details that typically when you win 8 games in a row can slip, because winning covers a lot of things. So working on those things that sometimes can slip up and being consistent and holding everyone to the same standard throughout the whole season is exactly what we're working on to hopefully flip that record in November. But we're well aware of it. And this week, we're just focusing on going 1-0, obviously securing home championship advantage. And that's kind of the guys' focus.
Yeah. What would you say has been, the most exciting thing for you all season outside of the winning? You talk about pouring into the players. How has that been as a relationship as you're more in a coaching role, and how's that look for you?
Yeah, as I said, it's a different type of joy. When you kind of view things from a broader perspective, you can kind of see the whole picture. You don't have to go in and want to rep every single day, 50 times, and you're not in the zone and blood boiling. So you can kind of approach it from a different style. And that's helped me kind of see the good in other guys and help bring that out of them. And then obviously, anytime you can develop as a leader, that's a huge plus. So that's probably been the biggest thing that I've gained from it. But there's a couple others, but I would say that for sure.
And Brendan, obviously you got the RT Rogers hat on there, and proud sponsors of the Live with 5-5 segment and the See a Red podcast. Give us a little bit more info on RT Rogers.
Yes, sir. So RT Rogers, Greg Rogers owns it. Liberty alum. From what I hear, little birdie told me him and the crew are coming up this weekend, so get to see them again. Always great to talk with them. Great people, great family, and based out of West Virginia. Their main marketing areas: Southwest Virginia and Southeast West Virginia. They sell fuel, lubricants, tanks, and equipment. Any oil needs, hit them up. So always thankful for them and thankful for that relationship.
Got it. Thanks so much, Brendan. And thanks to RT Rogers for sponsoring us as always. Brendan, what have you seen so far out of Louisiana Tech? I mean, what are some of their keys, to try to, stop Liberty and make it a successful game plan for them? And one thing I've seen on film and from watching them a little bit is their special team seems to be key, especially with a guy like Smoke Harris, preseason all conference player, guys taking one back to the house already in the punt return game. And how vital can special teams be in a game like this?
Yeah, overall, anytime, it's kind of funny because you're talking about recruiting. Anytime you play a team, kind of the area they're from kind of fits the mold of how their team plays. So you play Florida's, the Georgias, the Louisianas. No matter what the record is, those guys are going to be athletic. And so they're very athletic. Their defensive line is big up front. They can move well. And they've been in some close games. I mean, them in Western Kentucky came down to the wire. They've been in a couple other ones. A few plays, and they could be bowl eligible right now. So, and we know that we respect them. And as far as Smoke Harris and their skill guys, the special teams is huge. Nothing can flip a game faster than special teams. So it's a huge momentum swing. You talk about field position and games that matter. I mean, they have to win 3 straight to go to a bowl game. We're trying to clinch the home conference championship. This game matters a lot to the players, and those small details are going to matter. You talk about field position, flipping the field completely that's huge. Kickoff return. Not a lot of people pay too much attention to it, but as you mentioned, it means a lot.
Yeah, growing up, playing football, we were always told special teams and turnovers. Obviously we've been getting the turnovers and doing that, and if we can win field position, but even time of possession, goodness, the amount that we've been running the ball. What have you seen out of this offensive line this year that has really contributed to this? I mean, wow, it's been fantastic to watch. They've been grinding out games.
Yeah, it's always a joy to watch them. I would say going into fall camp, we kind of had a mentality. It's like your mentality is going to determine how you play. And we looked across the board. We brought in a ton of quality transfers, guys that have played ball that are talented. We had a core group of guys that have been here for a while, and we're like, why don't we just become that group that is like the dudes? Like they're known as like the best. And I mean, they took it seriously. I was knocked out practice 3, so I couldn't do too much physically, but they took and they ran with it. To see them putting up the rushing yards they are, and it takes way more than the O-line, but they've done an incredible part. It takes the tight ends, Caden carrying out fakes. Obviously, he's ran a bunch. He finishing runs. He had a 4th and 1 that he trucked some guy, and I mean, everyone's playing a part. Receivers blocking. It's kind of like the O-line giving up sacks. Everyone looks at the O-line. When you rush a lot, everyone looks at the O-line also, but there's still a lot of other keys that go into it. So, but it's been awesome to watch, and I know they've done a lot, but I know that they want to continue to prove that no matter who we play, they can do it. So it's going to be exciting to see how they finish.
And it seems like the offensive line in the ground game has been getting better as the season's gone on, which that's not always the case. Sometimes, by this point in the season, bodies are tired, legs are tired, and all that sort of stuff. But it's been fun to see, and it really kind of, I think we saw a comment earlier tonight in the chat, but it was about just how the ground game gets better as the game goes on, and really kind of imposes our will in the second half, and just kind of dominates teams there. So as always, Brendan, thanks for joining us, and it's always a pleasure to chat with you, and look forward to cheering you guys on the rest of the season as you finish up here your time on the mountain, and hopefully get a conference championship, right? I mean, get to a 5th bowl game, 5th time for your career, 5 for 5. Can't do much better than that, and those are your favorite numbers too, right? So,
amen.
Thanks, Brendan. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. See you Saturday. Have a good one.
Virginia's best and most flames-friendly coffee comes from Ironclad Coffee Roasters. Ironclad Roasting serves up their beautiful beans at 2 cafes in Richmond, where you can enjoy their craft roasted specialty beans from anywhere in the country by visiting www.ironcladcoffee.com. Place your order there, and it will be directly shipped to your doorstep. Whenever you find yourself in the capital of the Commonwealth, pay them a visit at one of their 2 cafes in the Richmond area. Ironclad's owners, the O'Rourke family, are proud Flames Club members and season ticket holders, and now they're pleased to sponsor the podcast from Mesilla Red. Hop over to www.ironcladcoffee.com now to get your Virginia's best specialty coffee headed your way.
All right. So shout out to Ironclad Coffee. I would do anything to get myself a little bit of Ironclad Coffee in this mug. But if you are interested in trying out some Ironclad Coffee, make sure you get yourself to the tailgate this Saturday for homecoming. I think festivities start off at 2 o'clock. The Flames Rising tailgate in Tailgate Town. You can't miss it. It's going to be a who's who. There's going to be members from the basketball team there. Make sure you get out there. But before we could get to Saturday's game, and we are going to talk about that game, we figured because we have a great group of people here, we would start by celebrating the fact that our Flames are championship bound. And in our first season, we are going to a conference championship. Ben, what are your thoughts on that, and Liberty able to do this in its first year?
It's great. It sets a standard, and really also helps with recruiting. Hey, we're here to win championships, not just to win bowls. We can do both now. So I think that's huge, and I think we not only set the standard, but also kind of set up. Hey, we're here to win. This isn't just we're walking in here and maybe we'll get a title here or there. We've proven that we're here to stay for a little while.
Yeah, and one thing that we're going to do to kind of help celebrate this great start to the season, and kind of midway point, if you will. I mean, 8 games in, and we're going to play at least 14, so a little bit past midway, but that's all for the math guys. So we're going to do some MidSeason Awards. So first one up was the best play of the year. I don't think it's any surprise here. Kobe Singleton, game-winning PBU against Sam Houston. He did it on 4th and goal, but he did it 3 times in the last 5 or 6 plays there. So that was huge and clutch. And obviously, if he doesn't do that and they catch that, we're not 8-0 right now, and this whole season would be a little bit different tune right now. Jerry, tell us a little bit about why that play was so clutch, and maybe take us back to that moment.
Yeah, so I was there in the stadium watching Sam Houston drive down the field and getting a little bit nervous, obviously. But as we said all season in our podcast, we have a bend, don't break defense. Being able to sit there and watch Kobe and the secondary just completely shut them down there at the end was great. Again, like I said, I was nervous, but they came in and they attacked it well, and they got it done. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge play. So obviously, like we said, it's the best play so far this year. Hopefully, we'll have some more big plays coming up after that. But next award we're going to hand out is the best freshman so far this season. And one thing with Liberty so far this season is they haven't played a ton of true freshmen. Vaughn Blue could have been in consideration for this before his injury, but going with TJ Bush. True freshman defensive end who's kind of been a standout there. Ben, what are your thoughts on TJ? And is there anybody else that maybe should have been in consideration there?
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing your article this week. What was it? Larry Jones was the only other one that has burned his red shirt. So, there hasn't been really anybody else. But TJ Bush coming out of high school, Freedom High School, state champion, had, I believe, 20-plus sacks in his senior year of high school. So, I mean, it's no surprise that he's coming in here and making an impact right away.
I think especially on the defensive side of the ball, there were definitely some questions going into the season. And the fact that a freshman stepped up and filled that role, I think eased a lot of people's minds that were worried at the start of the season. And next up, most impactful transfer. Now, we mentioned earlier a ton of transfers this season. We had a couple in the running back room as well. But, James, what are your thoughts? Deservedly to Quentin Cooley? Who would be your number 2 in the awards for this?
Yeah, I think Cooley's definitely the top transfer, and just since he's gotten so many carries, he's got over 800 yards this year. You can't ask for much more from him coming in from Wake Forest. Another guy that I would put on that is Bedgood. He has been phenomenal out of the backfield, not just running the ball, but also catching the ball. He's our dual threat, and he's filled an even bigger role than initially with Blue going down, because he's kind of turned into that Blue out of the backfield. Bedgood would definitely be my second.
Yeah, I think Bedgood definitely deserves some recognition here, and there's really a lot of guys you could plug in here. I think a couple offensive linemen could be in consideration too. We don't think about them so much, but individually. But Jordan White at center, I think he would be towards the top of that list. Also, Billy Lucas, he's kind of dealt with an injury a little bit, but another running back that's done really well. But yeah, I mean, Quentin Cooley, I mean, you can't say much more about what he's done, and the story that Liberty Flames put out earlier this year on him was really cool, just to kind of get to know him a little bit more off the field. But next one, best sideline / game energy, and I think this one, if you've ever been to the game and up close, right behind the bench, it's obvious that Chad Scott, the director of strength and conditioning, is kind of bringing the energy. But I think he gets all the kudos with the Joker mask coming up. Ben, tell us about what your thoughts are here on Chad Scott and just the job he's done with the team so far.
Yeah, I'm technically actually dressed up as Chad Scott tonight. I know it's not easy to tell, but yeah, he's we actually had him on the podcast ourselves this past summer, and man, he after we got done talking and we're like done recording, he kept on talking for like another 30-40 minutes, and we're like, we got to go to bed. He just, he was still in his office. He was ready to roll. And I was just like, I think it was James and I and maybe Jeremiah. I can't remember who all was there, but we were all like, wow, this guy is the right fit. And then, it's always funny with, again, you said the Joker mask. You see him going to grab it and then grabbing the money bag. And he just gets so excited. And you can tell that he not only loves what he does, but he really loves all the guys that he coaches.
Jerry, you're a big vibes guy. I know that you're a big fan. You love the getting hyped. Putting him on the spot here. This is not one of the awards. What has been your favorite post-game celebration in the locker room?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Maybe just going with that first one. I use it in the replies a lot when we have a recruit that we're trying to hit up a lot. Just the one where he goes, "Oh, strike the stone," and then you have Kobe in the background just going, "Yeah," like crazy. That would probably be my top one, but there's been so many good ones, like the one with the Snickers trophy and all of that. I can't really pick a. They're all great, but I'd probably go with that first one.
The first one was awesome, I think, and I said it before, and I said it to Coach Chadwell. We weren't expecting that. We had no idea that was going to come out, and there's chicken wings flying everywhere. And I woke up on Chad's couch the next morning. I'm like, what did I just miss? This is lunacy. But lunacy in a good way. So super exciting to see. Do we have one more award?
Yeah, one more award, and it's the best performing unit, the best position group, offensive line. We kind of already talked about them a little bit, but I think that's a no-brainer. James, what are your thoughts on the offensive line, and are they deserving of this award so far this season?
Yeah, no, I played offensive line back in my day in high school, and it's just, man, they're the most underappreciated group in football, I believe. And this year, man, they are getting it all. They are deserving it. And I love what they're doing. Another transfer that we didn't mention was Xavier Gray, and he's been great over there in tackle as well. So I'm loving the big guys up front, loving the recognition that some of these guys like X are getting for the next level. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it really is. They've done a great job, but it's time for us to move on. And enough praising these guys. Let's talk about the next opponent with Louisiana Tech as we bring in CT, who will be up in a few minutes as well with the cash and tickets. But CT, as we get you in the studio here, I can't speak. It's just so much going on. We're moving so fast. But Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, Smoke Harris there as impact player, wide receiver, punt returner, kick returner, Mr. Do-It-All. I've watched some of their games earlier in the season, and he's a guy that just is all over the field. He kind of flashes a lot. He reminds me a little bit of Demario Douglas, maybe a little bit poor man's Demario Douglas, that type of player. Also Hank Bachmeier. They kind of go with the air raid type attack, and he's been injured a little bit but should be back. CT, let's bring you in. What's your thoughts on Louisiana Tech and maybe their biggest challenges that they'll have for the Flames?
Oh, he got caught by the mute bug.
Yeah, my bad. I was going to say right away, you took the words out of my mouth with Smoke Harris. I was going to compare him to Demario for reference. He's their version of Demario. He's nowhere close to Demario, but he's their version of him. He's definitely their playmaker. If there's going to be things happening, going to be through him. He has 637 yards receiving this year. That's basically his highest already, which is really impressive. That's going to he'll probably hit 1,000 this year at this rate. So Bachmeier as their quarterback, he's solid. He's a transfer from a school that we won't talk about. But as you said, John, he does have injury history. It's mainly because of bad offensive lines, which he did get hurt, as you said, earlier this season as well. He also has some turnover issues. I think that's good for the Flames. I think that could be interesting there. See what we can continue to do with that Joker mask. But in terms of what challenges they could present, I really think the big thing is they're top 20 in the nation in passing defense. And that's something where our offense is very solid, where it's very tough to stop us. But if you can shut down half of that offense with the passing game, you have a shot at being able to stop the run defense. Not saying you're going to be or the run game. Not saying you're going to be able to, but you have a shot if you're able to stop the passing. So that'll be interesting to see. I'd like this matchup a lot for the Flames, but that could be one area that Louisiana Tech could try to exploit.
Yeah, good point, CT. But one thing that I kind of been thinking about is, yes, they're really good against the pass on defense, but they're one of the worst in the country in the rush defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, where does this come from? And could it possibly be that teams are just exploiting that? And it'll be interesting to see. But Ben, what are your thoughts on Louisiana Tech and their defense? Can Liberty exploit their run defense a little bit, as the Flames are number 2 in the country in rushing offense?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this graphic here, the scoring defense is worse than their scoring offense, so that's usually doesn't bode well for most teams. With that being said, though, yeah, with our run game, that's definitely going to be an area where we exploit. But I am a little bit nervous about the guy in this graphic, Smoke Harris. If they come out and play like MTSU did, he's a lot like your Chisholm and Metcalf type player. He's going to burn you at times. So, and Bachmeier does have some experience. He's been inconsistent. But I know we beat up on Western Kentucky, but they came back on Western Kentucky, and they've been able to do that a few times this year. So that's a little bit nerve-wracking. Hey, if we get up on them, we can't sleep. We got to keep them at bay.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting. It's an interesting game. Jeremiah, what are your thoughts on Louisiana Tech, and should the Flames be able to they're 17-point favorites? You think they're going to take control here?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to take control. I think there might be a little bit of a similarity between Smoke Harris and what Reed can do with Corley potentially. But I think overall we'll be able to take control. But as Ben already said a second ago, we've got to make sure we keep our foot on the gas, don't let up, and be able to get well ahead and stay well ahead.
Plus, it's homecoming. If we don't run the doors off of them on homecoming, what are we doing here? Like, it's homecoming. We didn't schedule any other. My Byron signs all over the place. We didn't schedule a great team for a reason. Like, homecoming, it should be a massacre. It should be people that are coming back for the first time in years that are like, oh, wow, Liberty's really, really good. I mean, they should know that already with 8-0 record. But this is what homecoming's for. It's for us to run it down their throats. Last time I was at a homecoming game was against Monmouth, I think in 2016, and we won by like a zillion points. So, blowout. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know a thing about La Tech, but I am going to tell you that we should blow the doors off of them strictly because it's homecoming.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Coach Chavo on his press conference this morning was talking about, we should set a record for homecoming attendance this weekend, and he was like, "Why not? We're 8-0. We got a chance to clinch a conference championship home game." For December 1st, and sounds like ticket sales are going pretty well. I saw on social media they were promoting out that all the chair back seats are sold out. Only the general, well, I guess it's not general admission anymore. It used to be general admission over above the student sections. All that's left. So should have a great crowd. Jeremiah, I know you're coming in for the game. Where'd you go? You just shut off on me. We'll go to James. James, what are your thoughts on the crowd? You expect a record type setting crowd for homecoming and the first Saturday game in over a month?
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday as we were talking, me and Ben. I really do. We had really great numbers for our midweek games, considering all things, 17,000 and 19,000. So I am super excited for that, and I think overall we're going to have a much bigger crowd than potentially we've ever seen. I think with homecoming we're going to have a ton of people, and it's exciting to hear those numbers of the chairback seats already being sold out.
Yeah, no doubt. So looking forward to it. So the line is still 17 CT. We still at Liberty minus 17. Okay, we got to go around the table here. Is anybody taking the Flames and laying the 17 points? Ben, you go first.
I am not. I'm actually taking Louisiana Tech because I think this game's going to be a lot closer than what people realize. We haven't played well at home this year. I hope we kick their butts, but I mean, last year at homecoming, we didn't kick Gardner Webb's butt. So different coaching staff, different things, but the trend this year with home hasn't been the best. We've had a good first couple games, but the midweek games were way too close. So I'm a little bit nervous, so I'm going with Tech.
No, I agree with you there. We kind of struggled in the first half or at home, especially those midweek games. I think that's kind of, hopefully just an aberration, just kind of mirage. Hopefully the team will feel a lot more energy from the homecoming crowd on Saturday and play really well. But I do agree with your pick there, Ben. I'm going to, if I was betting on this game, which I'm not, I would be taking the Bulldogs plus a 17. I'll keep going around here, around the horn. Jeremiah, I think you're on mute. Make sure you unmute. But what's your thoughts? Would you take Liberty minus 17?
Yeah, I'm with Richie here. I think we're going to be able to pull away, being homecoming. As James would say, bigger crowd in the stadium. I'm definitely going with a big blowout for the Flames.
James, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Ben. We had the same thoughts about this yesterday. I truly think it's going to be one of those games where our defense makes some fourth quarter stands, and that's what gets us the win.
Richie, CT, you guys want to jump in? I know you'll be talking about this more in your Liberty Line segment, but go ahead.
Runaway. It's going to be a runaway. I feel great about this game. Never once have I been worried about La Tech, but no, I just think we will run the out of the ball. Everyone's going to get carries. Everyone's going to get touches. Everyone's going to cook. I said it the first ever time. Chad said, hey, do you want to do a little bit on our podcast? It was homecoming. And I actually predicted the score. I said, you win for the fans, cover for the alumni. And it's homecoming. This is what happens. We're not going to get Gardner Webb. It's too late in the season. Everyone's looking at, this could be a trap game, the emotions coming off of last week. No, we've had a ton of time off. Feeling great. We got Saturday football again. Fans are going to be going crazy. Flames by 30.
Love it.
All I have to add to that, I mean, that's part. Yeah, all I have to add to that is, John, I know you're in last place for us. You're down 5 units. So at this point, whatever the opposite you have is probably a good thing. So give me the Flames all day.
Thanks, CT. Appreciate the unnecessary shots. When I don't, you guys fired me from that segment. I don't even know what happened. So now I don't even get to take up for myself in my picks.
I have the receipts to prove otherwise, but we won't do that right now.
I appreciate it. Hey guys, good talk, and looking forward to the game Saturday. If you're out there in the Lynchburg area or close enough, you can drive and get to the game Saturday. Come on, make sure you get your tickets ahead of time. Let's set a record crowd and support these guys. 8-0. Going for the best start in school history with a win. 9-0 be the best start in school history. We've only won 10 games twice in school history. 50 years of football, only done it twice. Let's get one win closer to it. And I think Producer 3000, we go on to our main man, Zeke, with our Around Liberty in 71 seconds. Let's get to that.
What's up, guys? It's Zach, and we are back with your weekly edition of the Liberty Flames Sports Recap. Let's get right into it. Women's soccer defeated Louisiana Tech 4-1 last week. That concluded their regular season. The Lady Flames will now face the winner of Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech in the Conference USA semifinals. Men's soccer tied Houston Christian 1-1 last Thursday and then eventually lost to Incarnate Word 2-0 on Sunday to finish out their regular season. Liberty will face the 6th seed Eastern Illinois in the Ohio Valley Conference Tournament. The Flames are the 3 seed. Field hockey concluded their regular season with a 5-0 shutout win over Georgetown. Obviously, the Flames are the number 1 seed in the Big East Tournament, and they will face Villanova to open the Big East Tournament. They are looking for their 3rd consecutive conference title. Obviously, the Lady Flames have already secured their spot in the NCAA tournament, being a top 10 team and only having 1 loss on the season, but they can earn a top seed in the NCAA tournament with a Big East tournament win and another trophy in the trophy case. Volleyball also went undefeated last week, going 2-0, defeating Sam Houston State twice on Friday and Saturday, both by a 3-1 score. The Lady Flames will face Louisiana Tech this weekend. Women's swim lost to UNC Asheville last week, 192-179. They will host the TYR 85 Invite on November 17th. In cross country, both men and the women's teams placed second in their first ever Conference USA Championship meet. Both teams will participate in the Southeast Regional coming up next. Men's golf placed third in their tournament up in Hawaii. Out of 20 teams, they will wait until January now for the 2024 spring season. Last but not least, football defeated Western Kentucky 42-29 to be 8-0 on the year and undefeated in Conference USA. They will face Louisiana Tech on the mountain this Saturday for a homecoming to clinch home field advantage for the Conference USA Championship with a win. This game will be at 6 o'clock p.m. on the CBS Sports Network. I hope to see you all there at the Sea of Red tailgate. This is Zach with your Liberty Flames Sports Recap. As always, go Flames.
Welcome back for hooking us up with all that information about Liberty Sports. Field hockey, still a wagon. I got national championship dreams. National championship dreams, ET. I don't know about you.
Field hockey school.
It is a field hockey school. Print more of the sheets. But it is that time. We are going to quickly give a run through of some of our picks from the last week. I know we didn't get a chance to really throw them all out there for everything, but you can see on the screen, decent week for you and I. Pretty good week. You were chirping John a little bit, but thoughts on last week? Pretty exciting day of college football. There were some upsets out there, really starting to separate some pretenders from the contenders.
Yeah, no doubt. And right away, I'll give you your credit. I screwed up this graphic. You got UTEP right as well. So you had another 8-1 week. Absolutely unreal. The bender continues. Amazing to say. I mean, who would have thought after last year that you'd be in this spot today? But yeah, you went 8-1. I had a good week. Kansas money line. I had another big money line hit. I was really happy with that one. That gave me a big week. And I know it gave John a hard time already, but I'll give him a little bit more. He continues to fall further back with another 4 and 5 week.
Yeah, he started off hot, and then it all just spiraled. It all spiraled out of control. But there's the standings.
Up 17, like that's unheard of. You're at like 63% or something like that. Just bravo all the way around.
It is, and I'm not going to ask for tweets. Yeah, I got tweets last year. People chirping me, Richie Nonchats, he's bad at picking. He can't pick games. We should fade him. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to call people out. But what I would like to call out, though, if you are enjoying this right now, like and subscribe. I'm 55 and 32. That's preposterous. I don't want any accolades. I just want you to like and subscribe, whatever platform you are on, because it helps us out. And also, yeah, I'm up 17. That's all fine and good. I could lose it all in 1 week. But CT, you're in the green now.
I'm in the green. Yeah, thankfully. I mean, I feel like I've been back and forth between right there on the edge. So I don't want to jinx it or anything like that. But for now, I'm in the green. So I'm happy about that.
And even, John, at the end of the day, and here's my disclaimer I try to throw out there as much as possible. Do not gamble above your means. If you are interested in investing on the outcomes of some of these games, please do this responsibly. We are doing this responsibly. This is all for fun. I always say I am not betting $100 on every single one of these games. Yeah. If you were, you'd be up a lot of money. But even at the end of the day, John being down 5 units, if you came to me right now, 9-10 weeks into college football season, said you're only going to be down 5 units, I would say this is a great college football season because it really is for you to have fun, to add some a different way to view these games. But we have our guest pickers on the screen right now. If you are watching live, you could see a dead heat for the top, for the leader, and that is split between Mr. Sam Stone and the gentleman that we just heard from, Zach. Both 6-3, up just about 2.5 units. But however, the other side of it, CT, what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, all over. It was Colby. It was Steven was down, even though he went 6-3 just like them. Again, he went all money line, so he went down. Then closing off the rear, we have Buckshot and Joel Vanderpool, but both 4 and 5, not too bad at all. So I've been very happy. We haven't had a bad guest picker week, and let's hope that continues. I'm not sold on these guys having a good week, but I mean, who knows? So
I told them not to copy my picks, but we're going to bring them back. They put their picks together, and we're going to go through and get some of their thoughts. You know, we already talked about Liberty La Tech. We were kind of split there. So going to be interesting to see right off the bat. We're going to have 2 either 1-0 or 2 0-1, unless the game ends up at 17 on the dot, which would make sense because Vegas is smarter than all of us. Only
other thing I'll say about that is last time a guest picker tried to fade Liberty, it was Colby with Jacksonville State. That did not go well. So we'll see what happens, but just know history is not on y'all's side.
Showing up to a Liberty podcast, fading the Flames. I can't believe it. No. Next up, Middle Tennessee State, New Mexico State. A lot of us on the same page. One of y'all, give us your thoughts on the under 56. Seems like a lot of points.
Well, I'm the only one that actually put this together because
okay.
So I can defend all my picks. So under 56, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I just really do. I mean, Pavia, Vadiato, I mean, it's at New Mexico. I just see them slowing down both of the teams. So I could see it being like a 20-17 game. That's why, honestly. There's been some really low scoring games throughout the year in Conference USA. So
it's actually, and I feel like New Mexico State's either boom or bust. Like they're either scoring a ton of points or they are in that grind it out Conference USA type game. Western Kentucky all on the same page. I'm going to assume bounce back coming off a loss against a team like UTEP, getting head nods from Ben. Jerry, James, feel free to jump in if you're feeling some type of way about a game. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page with Ben on this one. I agree that Western Kentucky is going to be coming back with some vengeance after now 2 straight losses.
Yeah, I mean, you know, John mentioned how fans were getting a little pessimistic. We'll see if they can right that ship. Next up, I have what I think is one of the games of the week. And this is kind of been circled for those who have been following. And Kansas State have been on a bit of a run. And they are facing off against Texas. That line is 4.5 over under 51.5. CT and Ben, you're on different sides of it here. I could not pick a side, so that's why I just went, hey, you just give me the over and get out of the way. But CT, you first. Kansas State, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, as you said, this will be one of the games of the week. And as well, I mean, Kansas State has been on an absolute roll. I took Kansas State. The big reason is just I'm not sure, honestly, what the status of Quinn Ewers is, Texas's quarterback, and that's a big thing for me. Without him, I really don't think that's the same team. So between Kansas State being on a roll and along with that injury status, I figure taking the points here is probably the safe play. To be determined what I actually do later in the week based on that injury status, but for the picks here, I wanted to go ahead and take that plus 4.5.
So I chose Texas because Texas is back. They're going to make the playoff, and they're not going to lose this game at home. I think this is going to be a statement game for Malik Murphy. I think he's a lot better, and he hasn't been this is his second week or third week. I can't remember how many he's got. Yeah, he's the real deal. When Ewers steps away, the Manning boy is going to have a hard time trying to beat out Murphy next year. I really do believe that. So that's why I got Texas.
If you are not watching live and you are listening, I'm nodding my head right now because I am a believer in Murphy. I think this is a great opportunity for Texas to show that they have the ability. If they can run the table, they will go to the playoffs. Yes, Oklahoma beat them a couple weeks ago. If they face off in the Big 12 championship game, I think Texas will be the favorite, and I think Texas will win that game.
Texas would absolutely win that game. Yep.
I think it's similar with the Pac-12. If you say to me Oregon is playing Washington again, I'm going to say, and I love Washington, but I think Oregon wins the game. Like, it's
Yeah.
just one of those weird situations. But
And you and I
lean
both had
Kansas,
Washington
but-
in the previous game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we both will
absolutely.
be on Oregon now. Like, that's just how it rolls.
You just look at the way it works. You look at how teams are going to progress as the season goes on. But next up, Bedlam. What is maybe going to be one of the last Bedlams in forever, because money has ruined college football. But that's another story for a whole nother time. Oklahoma coming off of a loss against Oklahoma State. Two teams maybe trending in opposite directions. Spread is 6. No one here took the over-under, but Ben went with Oklahoma -6. CT and I, Oklahoma +6. Ben, change my mind. Convince me to come onto the Oklahoma -6 side.
Listen, for Bedlam, guess who's dominated that series in this decade, century? Oklahoma. They're coming off of a really tough loss against Kansas, which I posted that was going to be the game of the week last week. Everybody was saying that noon games were going to be snoring, and I was like, no, Kansas, Oklahoma is going to be the best game of the day, and it was. So, I mean, man, I just think they're going to come back. Dylan Gabriel had a rough game, but I don't think lightning is going to strike twice on this. I think it's going to go with Oklahoma, and they're going to beat up on Oklahoma State in the last Bedlam that we could see for the next 10, 15 years. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's a shame. I will say I did go Oklahoma State just because I don't know how Oklahoma's going to respond. I think Dylan Gabriel before this, he was in the Heisman talk. He was right there in that mix in the top 5. But Oklahoma State, they're running the ball well. I think they're going to get up for this game more than Oklahoma because they're not the reason the rivalry's ending. The rivalry is ending because of Oklahoma. So I think this is Oklahoma State's Super Bowl. Next up, we got Georgia State at home against JMU. CT, go ahead.
It's got to work at some point, right?
Eventually.
I mean, it's got to work at some point. So JMU money line, they can't lose. They're not going to go 8-0, 9-0, or whatever it is. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, JMU, they can't lose. It's impossible.
I mean, I think they're not a bad football team. I think they're a touchdown better than Georgia State. But Ben, what do you got? I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about this game. So hopefully you did more research than I did.
Yeah, Georgia State, they're a quality G5 team. And I think at some point in the Sun Belt, they've been beating up on each other. At some point, Georgia State's going to have to step up because they're in that fight for that Eastern championship spot. So this would be a good win to help them secure that spot, or at least get to the point where they could secure it. I don't follow it as closely as I should probably, but Georgia State, I think is going to make a statement at home. JMU's got to lose sometime. I think they're a fantastic football team too. So,
well, I'm in the same boat. It's eventually going to trickle out. Now, for the sake of all that's good in this world, I am making the executive decision that we are not going to spend the moment talking about Iowa Northwestern. Not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to talk about Washington USC. I love that those games are basically the complete opposites. Like we have an over-under that is now at 30, and then an over-under that is at 76. But we are all on the same page here. And this game, a little important to me because I am leaving Friday morning because I'm going to this game. I'm going to LSU Bama. And you could chirp me all you want. Why aren't you going to homecoming? Reggie Longchaz, why is he going to Alabama? Kick rocks. I'm a fan of college football. I'm going out of Tuscaloosa with a bunch of my best friends. We're going to game day. I'm going to hold up a Salter sign or a Brian Kelly is allegedly a murderer sign, and we're going to keep it moving. So we're all on Alabama. Why are we all on Alabama? Ben, go ahead.
I think LSU is kind of a fraudulent team this year. I really do. They haven't played like I thought they would. Jaden Daniels just hasn't been really much of the Heisman candidate that a lot of people thought. I thought he was going to be top 2, top 3. They still do have what's his name? what is it? Neighbors. Yeah. Malik Neighbors. So, I mean, that is someone to look out for. Yeah, I mean, and I love Jalen Milroe as a human. So that's kind of me cheering, but I can't stand Saban. So it's kind of like a love-hate with Bama this year. So
I'll make it easy before I kick it over to you, CT. I'm going to the game. I'm going to bet whatever Alabama's team total is. I'm going to be singing Rammer Jammer in the stands. I might enroll to get my doctorate when I'm down there. I don't know. We're going to play it by ear. So no logic for me on this one. CT, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, little to no logic for me either. Really, I have an Ole Miss future to win the SEC West. I need LSU to win this game for that to happen. So that being the case, it's a bit of an emotional hedge for me more than anything else with Bama money line. So I would love to see LSU win for that Ole Miss future, but yeah, it's something where I really struggle to trust that defense against anybody for LSU. So one way or the other, either LSU wins and that future is looking pretty, or Bama wins and I get the pick right here. So
we love emotional hedges here on the A Sea of Red football podcast. Now, last but not least, lock of the week, one game that you are super confident in. I will go first. Again, Alabama team total. CT.
Liberty. I'm going to get Liberty.
Ben.
To be honest, it wouldn't be listed, but Jacksonville State. That's what I'm going with. I'm going off of what we went with, but Jacksonville State's my lock of the week.
The money is in the crumbs. We know more about the Conference USA than Vegas does. Jerry.
I like that Jacksonville State pick a lot, but I'm going to go Liberty also.
There he is. There's our guy. James,
Always.
last, what's your lock?
I'm doing Iowa Northwestern under 31.
Oh, you sicko. That is disgusting. Thank you so much for the three of you for joining us this evening. Ben, real quick, talk about your podcast and where can we get more of your content and hear more of you guys talking about the Liberty Flames.
Yeah, for sure. So Fan the Flames football podcast, FTF Football Pod is our handle. Of course, we've got Mr. James and Jeremiah and Kyle Griesinger, who wasn't able to make it tonight. He thinks baseball's, for some reason, more important than the Flames. Baseball should have ended in August. That's a statement that I love to say. But anyways, so yeah, he's in Dallas down there watching with his family, so I can't blame him. He's a Rangers fan. So, but yeah, so love these guys. So if they want to say anything as well.
Thanks for having us on.
No,
That's really
thank you guys for joining us. You know, after 8 weeks, it's like, you know what? I don't need to hear Richie Longshots hollering about nonsense anymore. Let's mix it up a little bit. So again, a huge thank you for you three joining us on this Halloween
Thank you.
Tuesday. Looking forward to catching up with you guys at some home games, maybe at a conference championship. Hopefully at a conference championship game and then on to a bowl game. So make sure you check them out on Twitter. And again, thank you three so much for joining us this evening. CT.
It's just us.
And then it's just us. So tucked behind the curtain, John has to pick up one of his daughters from a Halloween party. So we've been thrusted into the spotlight. So we're going to end things off with CT's locks for the week. So take us home. What do we got?
Let's keep it rolling, and we'll try to roll through these quickly. So first off, Arkansas at Florida. Florida is a 6-point favorite. Totals at 49. I'm going to go ahead and take Arkansas +6.
New coach.
Yes, exactly. So they fired their offensive coordinator the other week, and it really was just a terrible fit all around. So they like to play fast. They like to go do quick plays, get to the line of scrimmage fast. And his offensive philosophy is slowly developing plays. Didn't work at all with offensive line. Didn't work at all with KJ Jefferson. Things looked a lot better last week. I'm going to keep on relying on that. And I'm going to
Didn't they fire Pittman?
No, Pittman's still there.
Pittman's still there by the grace of God.
barely. He's still there. I would have liked this more if Florida covered last week. I thought they were going to, but Georgia might have figured something out without Brock Bowers. They actually have to use other players. Yeah. But regardless, I think Arkansas could get this upset So give me them Arkansas +6. Next one, moving on, you got Nebraska at Michigan State, another just gross Big Ten game. Nebraska is a 3-point favorite. 34.5 is that total. I'm taking that under. I was back and forth. I do have some pretty big futures on Nebraska under 6.5 wins. That's getting a little bit sweaty as well. It was a big Matt Rule fade. But Nebraska, I looked at the split so far. They have like 90% of the money in handle. They don't deserve that. But I also don't trust Michigan State to cover. Both teams are pretty terrible. But so that being the case, Nebraska has actually a pretty good defense. Michigan State's been getting better with their defense. So another gross total, give me that under 34.5.
And welcome on Producer 3000. It seems like he correctly joined the podcast this time. He's got himself a bit of a filter. There it is. Nope, other way.
Wrong direction, but it works.
It's fine. We're paid.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sick filter. Where'd you find that? He doesn't know. It is what it is. Next up, Army Air Force. Bit of a service academy. You love the service academy, CT.
Yep. Yeah. As I preached from week 0, when the service academy is laying over 2 touchdowns, you take the points. And when it's 2 service academies going against each other and you can get a spread like this, give me Army all day. 18.5. We saw what that Navy Air Force game looked like. And I think Army at least is better than Navy. So that being the case, give me Army plus 18.5.
I'm getting very worried about Army Navy this year.
Yeah.
That is going to be an ugly, ugly football game.
It's awful to watch, but hey, got to support the troops. So,
troops.
Yep. Kansas at Iowa State. Iowa State is a 2.5-point favorite, over under 54. This honestly is my favorite play of the week. It's not Liberty, but I didn't want to get to it too quickly. This is my favorite play of the week. This is one of my favorite systems in college football. When you have a ranked team playing an unranked team, and then the unranked team is the favorite, just take them. Take the unranked team.
For a reason.
Exactly. It's going to work. Kansas just coming off that big win against Oklahoma. Who wants to take Iowa State minus 2.5? I definitely do. So it's a system that works. Might not hit every time, but I'm going to take it every single time. So I will responsibly be playing that with a nice little wager.
And Iowa State's one of those teams, not to extend the podcast any longer or talk about the rankings, but Iowa State's right up there and deservingly so. They've really come into their own this football season. I've always been an Iowa State guy. Who's their coach again? Matt Campbell?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Matt Campbell is a very good coach, is going to get big-time P5 jobs at some point. But next up, UCLA, Arizona. What do we got?
Yeah, number 20 UCLA at Arizona. Arizona, 2.5-point dog. So it's not the same system as before, but it is pretty close. And both Arizona and Arizona State at home this year have been very, very solid. Arizona had that nice upset last week as well. I think they can continue that. I think UCLA, they have like a 2 or 3 quarterback system. We know how that goes. They've been playing pretty well. They do have talent, but ultimately I think they're going to struggle in this game. Pac-12, it is very tough to win on the road this year. So I like Arizona to, again, just get another upset. So give me Arizona plus 2.5.
And we're in Pac-12 eat their own season. Like this is that point where a big time Pac-12, a ranked Pac-12 team is going to lose at a 10:30 game, and you're going to wake up and go, "Oh, lost to one of the Arizonas. Who would have thought?"
Exactly. Yep. And then we'll wrap it up. We'll do another moneyline parlay. It was fun. It didn't hit last time. I think West Virginia sold against Oklahoma State. Oh well, I was looking pretty good outside of that. So. We're going to run it back. We got 6 teams. Wyoming, they're at home. They're playing against Colorado State. Wyoming's 5-0 on the year at home. They're just incredible in Laramie. So give me them. Ole Miss at home against Texas A&M. This just missed the chopping block for the locks. That should be a pretty good game. But I do like Ole Miss, again, for that future that I have. I also just don't trust Jimbo and his offense. So Ole Miss money line. Tulane, against ECU. ECU is absolute garbage. Now they lost their quarterback after from last year. He was like a 10th year senior or something like that. But they're garbage now. So give me Tulane, Liberty, of course, SMU they're playing against Rice. SMU, they are probably one of our big competitors. Plug right now for John's article about the New Year's Six Bowl. Read that if you haven't already. SMU is going to be one of our big competitors, and they're running up the score on teams right now to try to have a resume. So give me SMU on the money line. And then finally, Washington, they're playing against USC. That's another good game. We didn't talk about it previously, but I don't trust that USC defense at all. So give me Washington money line. Put those 6 together, and you have a nice little plus 450 parlay.
I'm going to have to remember to fire it off before I jump on the plane. So, again, if you are watching live, thank you so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're watching later on, again, do the same. But if you are listening to this, on the screen right now, Chad is in a Liberty Joker mask. I'm terrified. It's a little terrifying, but it's great. CT, thank you for the locks. Yes, we talk about gambling. Yes, we talk about spreads and all that, but it's also an opportunity to talk about college football. And now that Liberty's in a conference, it's important to talk about the entire landscape of college football and how what teams are doing and how different conferences are shaking out.
How the polls work.
Yeah. So, yes, we are talking about gambling, and that is the crux of it all, but it is an opportunity to really highlight what's going on in college football. So nice to be playing again on Saturday. And I wish I was at homecoming. Producer 3000. Yes, Ray, you did leave us a voicemail. We are going to be putting that out on Twitter tomorrow. Much appreciated. Again, check out those voicemails because we do. Every time I get those, we listen to them. Check those out. Producer 3000, anything you want to add? He's holding up. He's holding up the LU. He's got it right this time.
Oh,
it's tough in
nice.
the try box to show it off. CT, anything before we take it home?
No, I mean, the Flames are 8-0, and let's go for 9-0. Let's try to get just continue to improve, and let's one win at a time, and let's just see what happens at the end of the season.
One win at a time. Control what we can control.
Yep.
And enjoy the ride that we are on. So thank you again to the boys from the Fan the Flames Football Podcast. Thank you again to everyone who is joining us this evening and later on. Make sure you get out to the game this Saturday. Get to the tailgate, Titletown, Flames Rising. Be there. It's the place to be. Great food, great drinks, great vibes. And as always, on behalf of everyone involved in the Sea of Red Football Podcast, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next week.